Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Tuesday, the 3rd of August. We continue reading through Judges, and today we read Judges chapter 17, an interesting chapter reflecting the decline of the people of God. There was a woman in Israel who had 1,100 shekels of silver which got lost or stolen, and so she issued a curse, cursed whoever took it. Her son comes along and says, I actually took it. So she says, oh, the Lord bless you, my son. And then she takes the coins, the gold, the silver, and says, I'm going to dedicate this to the Lord. But she only takes 200 shekels of it, gives it to a blacksmith to make an idol. She gives it to her son, who sets it up in his house. And in verse 5 we read, Now this man, Micah, had a shrine, and he made an ephod and some household gods, and installed one of his sons as his priest. And you just read that and you think there's so much that is gone wrong. Certainly there's some bits and pieces that have links to what God had revealed. There's an ephod and there's worship, but so much of it is just off the track. And then verse 6 tells us, in those days Israel had no king. Everyone did as they saw fit. There was no guidance, there's no standard, there was no help. People were left to their own devices. And we need to remember, in those days, there weren't books. Not everybody had a copy of the law. That would have to be taught to them, and therefore you need a structure in place for that to be passed on. And so people just did what they liked. Now Micah meets a Levite who's traveling and says, don't you want to come to my household and you become my priest? I'll pay you. The Levite moves in and does this. And the chapter ends with, and Micah said, now I know that the Lord will be good to me, since this Levite has become my priest. And I read that and I think, no, the Lord's not going to be good to you, because despite the fact that he's a Levite, the priest should be at Shiloh at the tabernacle. You shouldn't have all these idols. Clearly God said, thou shalt not make a graven image, which is exactly what you've done. And you've got so much wrong. And as I read it, I thought, it's not like Micah was being obstreperous and rebellious. He hadn't done this and said, I'm making an idol of Ashtoreth, or I'm going to start worshipping a Sidonian god, or make it of Molech or one of the other gods. He said, no, this is an idol of Yahweh, my God, despite the fact that Yahweh had said no. So he did it probably with the best intentions. And so often today we find people doing things with the best intentions, but it's wrong. And our intentions aren't what counts. What God has revealed to us counts. And so we need to hang on to the scriptures. This is where God speaks to us. This sets the path for us. This sets the standards that we live by. Not what we think might be a good idea. Not what our neighbor or our friend suggests. Oh, that's a good idea. That surely must be good. And certainly not what we read on social media, where everything is supported and encouraged and held up as a good idea. And we end up having to get back and saying, no, God's will is what we stand by. So be encouraged to stand firm on what God has revealed in his word to us. That is our hope, that is our foundation, and that is our strength in life. Know that, stand there, and be blessed.